Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. Welcome to Mondays with Michelle. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was really good. We're excited for Mondays. It's like something kind of fun to look forward to now.
I know it really is. We are having so much fun answering questions, and you guys are doing an amazing job sending them in. We've had, gosh, over 100
Over 100 so
questions.
far. Yeah, it's been so fun to see them come in and Michelle will send out a reminder or an email and they just come in and we love it.
Yeah, so keep them coming because I'm excited to channel spirit and answer them for you. The only thing that I really want to talk about today, before we get started, is that on April 16th, I'm starting my Life Guides course. It's online, it's live. I would love for you to join us. I will add it in the chat later, but there's a 20% off coupon. The password for that is Spirit Guides, all capital, one letter or one word, 25. So I'll add it in the chat, but please join us April 16th.
Awesome.
All right,
That'll
let's get going.
Cool. Okay. So our first question is, you say that when a person transitions over to the other side, they will be met with love no matter how they got there. But I've read stories where a nurse in a hospital taking care of a person in their last days witnessed the person acting like they're fighting off something the nurse couldn't say, saying, no, no. Was this person seeing something like demons coming for them? What was going on with them?
Yeah, so that's a really broad question, not knowing this person personally, right? So let's talk about the human side of this. Some people are really afraid to die. For some people, this is their greatest fear. And I have this with clients regularly. And what I have found with them is that in their mind, when they're coming to that moment, they do struggle with it, either because they're afraid of what's coming next, they're afraid of being judged, we have a lot of false beliefs about what spirit world really is. So is it very possible that her fears were showing up and she was almost having a nightmare or something at that point in time? 100%. But what I will say once again is we are all met with love and compassion. And so even though the transition might look hard for the human, on the other side, and what their soul is experiencing is pure love and compassion. The other thing that I like to add on to this, because a lot of people have seen their loved ones transition and it doesn't look pretty, right? Sometimes it's hard and it's not as peaceful as we want. Very often, or actually every time I had my NDEs, I never felt the trauma of what my body was going through. So our soul doesn't have to feel the trauma. It's not productive. It's not productive to carry that with us through our next life. So very often we might say that they're in pain or worry about it or it looks uncomfortable. And at the same time, you just need to know they're not processing that. They're not carrying that.
So that's just that you, like us, witnessing their human experience, the human pain, but it's not the soul.
Yeah.
All right. Good question. Next one. My mother and I had a tough time together while she was living. I felt critiqued and criticized for most of my life. I even wonder now if she loved me as she treated me differently than my two sisters. How in the world are we going to be towards each other when we see each other again? I almost don't want to see her as we have never been able to talk. I hope you can answer my question as this has been bothering me for years. I am 71.
Wow. Yeah. That is a big question. That is a powerful question. Thank you for being vulnerable and asking that. I think there are a lot of us that have this run through our mind, right? So whether it's your ex or your in-laws or your parent or your sibling, right? We are not guaranteed perfect relationships here. If anything, those are the ones that we don't grow from. We grow from the challenging relationships. So what will happen when you transition is that you might not be ready to see your mom as the first in line to greet you, but I promise you that your mom is going to be in line to greet you. And the way that this works out is our souls only know love. So even if I'm very frustrated with someone or angry at them in my human form or hurt by them, my soul only knows how to love them. And so when we get to the heavenly realm, it is all about the love. And what will happen is you will be able to see how you and your mom, what I'm going to say, played human, chose challenges for each other, and how you learned and grew through it. And it doesn't mean it felt good in our humanness, but on a soul level, it's love. And very often on a soul level, our worst enemies in this lifetime are our best friends in spirit world because they're the ones who came to help us grow and follow our life plan.
So it's almost like our souls can see each other and understand each other.
Absolutely.
And so you can have that compassion for all the hard things.
Yeah. And I want to say, let me add on to that, because this is like a good thing. A lot of times people who have challenging relationships with their loved ones in spirit have better relationships with them when they get to the other side, because that relationship continues on, but now they've shed all their human junk. Right. So now maybe is when you want to start cultivating the new relationship with mom. Now is the time to start saying, okay, mom, I'm ready to receive the love from you that I did not receive in human form, and setting aside time. And it's probably going to feel foreign if this wasn't something that felt normal for you in your lifetime. But at the same time, that relationship, it did not cease to exist when she left her body. So you can start working on that and growing it now.
So like the human things that maybe like held us back or affected that relationship in a negative way, those things don't matter so much on the other side.
They don't matter so much
anymore.
No, what happens is we actually come into this life with a pre-life plan. So nobody is here randomly or accidentally. Even if you tell me my mom accidentally got pregnant with me when she was 14, on a soul level, that was no accident. You are meant to be here at this place and time. And because of that, what happens is we have created soul plans before we come in, and we have certain lessons that we want to learn. I have a course that's already pre-recorded online. You can go order this if you want. It's called Soul Agreements, and it talks about our pre-life planning and actually choosing this lifetime and our challenges and who is going to play mom, who's going to play dad, who's going to play the kids. So think about it on a soul level. And I know we have a lot of questions, so I'm going to get to those. But think about it on a soul level. At some point, Heather and I were in spirit world, and we were like, hey, okay, around the year 2009, 12?
2012.
Okay, around the year 2012, in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to let you move in next door, and we're going to cultivate this friendship. It might take years, but here we go. So this was obviously a soul plans meeting.
Absolutely.
And I would say that's true for very many people. So in spirit world, this life is almost a virtual reality. It does not mean, and I want to say this very clearly, it doesn't mean that the pain that we feel, that the heartache that we suffer, that the tears that we shed aren't real. There is real is the joy, the laughter, and the love. So I want to validate that. But at the same time, we've chosen this blueprint, which go watch my course. As far as the course goes, about 60 to 70% of our life has been chosen in spirit world by free will. So you're not forced to do anything. And then the other 30 to 40% is the free will we have as the human when we get here.
Interesting. Yeah. On a side note, like knowing that Michelle and I, like I knew our paths would cross, like once we became friends. And when we were looking at houses in Arizona, I remember the feeling I got when we walked into the house that we ended up buying across right next door to Michelle. And it was like so clear to me. It was like, you need to be in this house. And I was just like, I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. It was a really big move for us. Why this house? And it was just like, nope, this is it. Yeah. And it was just became so clear as we lived in that house, like why I was supposed to be there and why my family was supposed to be there and why we were supposed to be neighbors.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yep. It is so cool.
Okay. Next question. I'm so excited you are doing these lives and thank you for making them available. My question today is, what is the best way to raise one's vibration to better connect with people in spirit?
Oh, okay.
It's a very common question we're getting.
It is. It's a great question, and it's easier to do than most people think. So when we talk about raising vibration, I want to talk about inner peace, inner joy. When we're wanting to connect with our loved one in spirit, it's challenging when you are in grief, when you are on your knees, when you are crying, when you're having a really hard day, because our vibration syncs with that energy. So for me, when I'm doing mediumship, when I'm connecting with spirit, I've got to raise my vibration and expand my energy. If we're depressed, if we're sad, if we're in a hard place, our energy shrinks in around us and our vibration lowers. So really, the easiest way, before you want to connect with your loved one, go watch a comedy movie. Go to your friend that makes you laugh the hardest. I want you to start from a place of joy and as funny and fun as you can get. Spirit world is fun too, by the way. I just want to tell people that. Like, I know people sometimes don't think this, but I have to tell you, Jesus is hilarious. Like, he comes in my readings all the time. Being raised Catholic, I thought it's like I needed to confess or bow down to him or whatever that was. Heck no, he comes in with a great sense of humor and is my best friend. Spirit world is funny. So the angels are hilarious, all of them. Raise your vibration, okay? Sometimes that's about peace. Sometimes if we are distraught because we're watching the news or we're doing something that the outside world is telling us is really hard, we need to turn off the channel. We need to go inside. We've got to find that inner peace. So peace and joy are the easiest, fastest way to raise your vibration.
Perfect. All right, next question. My question relates to the soul growth after death. If a person had characteristics of modest integrity, such as making excuses for behavior, blaming others, and telling fibs, will that person still have those characteristics after death and demonstrate them in readings? What is your growth path to move away from these low vibration behaviors?
Okay, well, that's a good question. So here's what will happen during a reading. When I connect with spirit, I am connecting with that person's higher self. So a little bit about what we talked about a minute ago, they shed their humanness, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not going to explain to me or give me ideas of how they were in human life. So they might come through and they might say, I was an alcoholic. It doesn't mean they're an alcoholic in spirit world. They're giving me human characteristics. So I would expect that person to tell me how they were, or that soul to tell me how they were as a human. And yet I'm still connecting with their higher self. So the evolution of the soul never stops. We have ways to learn and grow in spirit world. We get to do our life review where we look back and we see our life and we see where we could have done things different. We understand how maybe something we said or an action we took affected not just one person, but the ripple effect that it had. So the evolution is continual. My short answer is no. I think the soul would come in and say, this is how I was in human form, but I do not believe that they're up there lying and fibbing. There's no point. The game's over.
Right. There's nothing to lie or hide.
Yeah. And the truth is, heaven knows your vibrational frequency. And every soul there does too, right? When we're in spirit world, we are reading vibrational frequencies. I'm not reading the story that Heather is telling me verbally or anything like that. It's a vibrational frequency. So you can't lie in heaven. Your vibration would not line up.
How do you believe we communicate in the spirit world?
Yeah, I love that. So it's telepathic. Every time I've had
you can't lie or fib, right?
Right. Yeah. Every time I've had an NDE, that communication is telepathic. And that's actually how I do my mediumship. So it is beyond English. It's beyond words. It is feelings. It's emotion. I am getting completely an energetic communication download that I then translate into human words. But it's not really that I'm usually hearing your loved one speaking to me. Sometimes I'll get a word, but words are a little bit dumbed down for the way we can communicate telepathically and with vibrational frequency.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So much easier there.
A lot easier, right?
Yeah, because there's no miscommunication. Right? If you sent me a text, I could read it with 20 different tones. Oh, yeah. She's mad, she's happy, she's sad, whatever that is. Vibrational frequency is pure.
It's like a soul-to-soul communication.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no room for misinterpretation.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Okay, next question. I am odd HD and have minor touch synesthesia. Both make me sensitive, receptive to energy here and in heaven. I'm also going through a divine pregnancy that has lasted 7 years, 4 months, and 19 days so far as of typing this. I initiated a due date finally a couple months ago, and that coincided with accepting and fully embracing not only each of my gifts, but the miraculousness of what I'm going through, as well as knowing I am meant to share our story to uplift others and to help them find their way when they are losing their faith. I am needing help as I shed the habits and patterns of the old me, one full of self-doubts, perpetual scarcity, and repeatedly retracting and allowing others to dim my light. And as I learn to truly spread my wings and soar to the new heights I am capable of, how do I move forward? Do I keep sharing just like I am on Instagram and Substack? Yes, my book, I know that's part of it all too. But currently, my car, do I spend the money to repair it or look to a friend for help? Maybe someone has an old one to loan me. That's a loaded question.
That is a lot going on there.
on.
I know. Okay. So let's just start with the self-doubt part, because that is going to be something that affects every part of your life if we're doubting ourselves, right? And one of the easiest ways that I know to shed that is to start small. So, what I want you to do is I want you to tune into your intuition. I want you, since you're already telling me that you are sensitive and you feel things, start doing things like, okay, do I want to have this salad for lunch? Do I want to have this steak for lunch? And start noticing what feels right so that you learn to attune into that vibration of trust and letting go of the self-doubt. When we start with smaller things that they're not going to have a big deal effect on your day, right? Which one feels right for me now? I can trust this. Then we build up to the bigger things. And those things are really going to be the ones that lead you on the path that's correct for you. So start small with the self-doubt. But what we're looking for is the reoccurring pattern of trusting self.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As for the car, it really does feel like it's on its last leg. So I would say do what you need to do right now, but Spirit's showing me like putting band-aids on it, right? So everything kind of is a band-aid right now that you're doing. Your truth is what I want to say to you. Your truth is your truth, okay? So honor your truth. And the world will find ways to doubt anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. This is part of the contrast that we live in. So the goal is really to honor who we are as a soul and our story.
Great. All right, next question. Do you see me receiving a solid job offer in the month of April? I have been actively applying for 10 months. It's a long time.
That is a long time. I actually feel it coming in the first half of May. So I think that's when we're looking at. We have people sending chats. I don't know if they're just questions or hellos, but thanks for joining us.
All right. Next question. How much does our family help us in a life after they pass on? How do we connect with them to ask for their help if needed?
Yeah. Okay. So our family, so we have a spirit team. We have our life guides and our angels that we chose before we came here to planet Earth, that we already said, hey, I'm going in. I need your help. What happens then when our family transitions is they join our spirit team. So they will help us as much as they can. You've got to think about this. The people that you love, it's eternal. You're never going to not want to help them. So they're going to bring in opportunities. They're going to bring people into your path. So often I've read for people who have been widowed, and they will come in and they will say, I know my husband or I know my wife sent me this person, because we have more than one soulmate in a lifetime. Do you know this?
Really?
We do.
I guess I do believe that.
We'll get to that one right after this. But so what I would tell you with your family, invite them in, ask them for help, ask them for guidance. Know that they're going to do everything possible they can to help you. However, you have free will, so you can choose to ignore the signs or to follow them. And you can also really know that we're not allowed to know everything in this life. It's like it's reading the last page of the book, right? We're not allowed to do that. So just trust that they're going to be coming in with you. Is that the answer for that? Let's go to Soulmates.
Well, very interesting. We have a question on the chat that is in alignment with this also. So I'll ask that, and then I think it'll kind of tie right into what you're going to say. If we don't have a soul contract with a person, would it be good to have a romantic relationship with them? So that goes into like the soul contracts and like more than one soulmate.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Thanks for asking that question. Okay, so yes, as you can tell, I get really excited talking about spirit. I'm like, let's go. All right, here's the thing about that. If you are in a romantic relationship with someone, I'm going to tell you that on some level, you have a romantic soul agreement with them, because we're talking intimacy. That is intimate, right? And even if it's a one night thing, it is still going to be a soul agreement. With that being said, people come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime. And more importantly than anything is asking yourself, what am I supposed to learn here? What am I supposed to know? Is this the right relationship for me? Okay, so that's important. But I love that question. Thank you for asking. But that level of intimacy is going to require a soul agreement. Even if it is a one night thing, because it's like, okay, we're going to touch base for here. Maybe it's purely like a physical reason that you're connecting. Maybe there is no mental or emotional connection, but on a soul level, you lined up, because when we're in that level of intimacy, we are literally blending souls. We're blending energy here.
When we're having an experience.
Yeah, you're having an experience, which is what this life is all about. So now on to soulmates. This is the fun part. For all of you who ask me all the time, because this is one of my biggest questions I get when I'm doing groups and galleries. When is my soulmate coming? Where's my soulmate, right? You do have a soulmate, but guess what? You have more than one. And they're going to play out in different areas of your life. So you might have children as soulmates, you might have friends as soulmates. And the understanding I have from spirit world is we all have multiple romantic partners as soulmates, depending on the choices we make out of our free will. Humanness will dictate who we end up with. So let's say one of your soulmates comes in and they have decided like they would love to be your soulmate, but they want no kids. And to you in this lifetime, you're like, no, I need kids. I need kids. This is important to me. Maybe in the heavenly realm, you were pretty sure that was what you wanted. And you thought, maybe this person will sway. And so what's going to happen is if you're going to, it doesn't mean you're not going to meet that person, but what it means is you're not going to have this explosion of chemistry and connection because this soul has already made a decision that's not going to work for you in this lifetime. Right. But also I want to say about this, there are going to be multiple romantic interests that are good soulmate connections. The universe is abundant, right? And we do not just come here with one true soulmate. Now there are couples, right, that have been married 60, 70 years that are like, I've met my soulmate in high school and I love that and I honor that and I wish everyone that story. And at the same time, just know that if it wasn't that person, there were going to be a couple other options along your road.
Lots of options.
Lots of options, couple of soulmate options though, because options and a soulmate are different. We all have options. I promise you, get on Tinder, get on Bumble. You have options, right? And just keep scrolling. Or I haven't even used those apps. So I'm just going off what I heard. Here's what I will tell you. We all have options, but soulmates are different because a soulmate isn't just an option. A soulmate is a soul connection.
So would you say a soulmate then would last this whole lifetime? Or can a soulmate last for just a short period of time?
Yeah, a soulmate can last a short period of time because we're going to talk about reasons. We're going to talk about contracts, our agreement. Maybe your soulmate was meant to come in for the first part of your life for whatever reasons, to have children, to learn, to grow. Maybe that ends in someone's transition, someone's divorce, whatever that is. So it doesn't mean that person wasn't your soulmate for that period of time. They absolutely were. It just meant you didn't have the lifelong contract.
And the way sometimes I feel about it is like they could have been, or they were your soulmate, and then we still have choice. Choices are still made.
Right.
And so choices to stay, choices that maybe hurt you in a relationship, choice that you don't want to be in that relationship anymore. And it doesn't mean they weren't at one point your soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this too, when you are wanting to attract your soulmate, I don't know how this turned into the soulmate talk, but here we are.
Here we go.
Okay. As you're wanting to attract your soulmate, what you really have to do is learn to love yourself deeply because we are a vibrational match. Yes. All right. So if I don't know how to love myself and I don't know what I need and I don't know how I want to show up in the world and what kind of experience I want to have in life, how will anyone else know? If you love yourself at a lower level, you're going to attract at this lower level. If you love yourself more, you're going to attract at this higher level. So think vibrational frequency. The other thing that I love about this is vibrational frequency with friends, family, partners, work, all of that. That's how you need to read it. It doesn't mean that person's a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're right for you, wrong for you. It's just like, do our frequencies align?
And I feel that is so true. Like I look back at my first marriage and like where I was at and how I felt about myself and like the vibration that I was putting at it, like, excuse me, makes perfect sense why I made that choice.
Right.
And then to look at like how my relationships have changed since then, since I was 20 years old.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's so
right?
true.
I've got to witness Heather find her soulmate on an app too, for those of you who are wondering, I think, right? But it's amazing, right? And when I see that happen for her, then when any of you are watching people fall in love and find their soulmate, just say, yes, universe, this is what I'm ready for. I want that. I know it's possible. I know it can happen.
It can. And it did.
And
it happened so quickly. And right when I met him, I knew it was him. It's amazing. Okay, we have some questions in the chat.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to there for a second. This is an interesting one. Can abusive people that have passed still harm you?
Yeah. So what I have found is that there are certainly some mediums that will say that, or some people that can communicate with the other side. What I have found to be true in my practice, and just know that what I'm talking about is my experience, my connection with spirit. So I've been doing this professionally since 2017. The answer is no. They are not allowed to still hurt you in human form. Now, their energy and the way that you remember them, the way that you perceive them, it's almost like more of an internal situation, right? Where
Okay.
it's like I think of that person and I want to vomit, or I feel sick, or I because of the signature that you had with them. But just know that you are so loved and guided and protected while you're here, that if that is something that you're working with, I want you to just call in your angels. I want you to ask your spirit guides, ask your spirit team, take this feeling from me. Because a lot of times, we feel that, but it's not accurate.
Awesome. Okay, another question from the chat. Do you have any guidance regarding when I'll be moving and what I need to do to support that coming as soon as possible?
Okay, well, the first thing I heard when Heather was reading it was within 6 months. So I think it's coming it's not coming later, it's coming sooner, is what I will tell you. It feels like to me right now, the next 2 months they're showing me as a planning phase. And I do feel like they're just showing me ducks in a row, ducks in a row. So line up the things that you need. But when you're ready to launch, it happens pretty quick. So this is your time to prepare. And when you're ready to go, it just feels like it comes together. Yeah, good luck with that. I want to tell you this. You're not getting all the clear answers right now about when, because it's not time to know that. It's time to prepare. And by preparing, I mean this. It's time to start cleaning out the house. Get rid of the stuff that you don't want. It's also time, what your guides are telling me to tell you, to start cleaning out your mind. So the thoughts and the emotions that are no longer serving you, I want you to take them and, throw them away too. There's a whole overhaul that is getting ready to happen in your life, and it feels like it's a positive thing, is what I want to say to you. But there's multiple levels of letting go that need to happen first, so that you can step into the next location with a good, clean energy.
Great. Another question from the chat. Here it is. Do you have any guidance on ways I can turn my Clare cognizance up?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So number one, I want you to just ask for it. So spirit world is going to respond to us when we have questions and we ask for help. Here's one thing I do every day. I ask for clarity, and it is amazing the days that I forget to ask for clarity. I literally do not have as much clarity, right? And so ask for it to be turned up. I want you to practice. What does this feel like? How do I hear more? I feel like I want you to turn all your channels up. So I would just say start working with that. The other thing that I need to tell you, two things. One, they're showing me meditation. So think about how you want to meditate. And in that, I want you to see yourself. They're showing me you as an antenna. So you're receiving on every level, and really just bringing in the information for yourself. The other thing is, as you are moving, so we've got meditation and movement, right? This is an interesting combination for you. In your movement, with each step you take, whether you are walking to the grocery store from the parking lot or whatever this is, imagine dropping any resistance to actually being able to raise this awareness, because sometimes, very often, our biggest challenge is getting out of our own way.
Absolutely. We're our own worst enemies.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. One more question from the chat, and then I think we'll be out of time today. This went by so fast.
So fast.
Okay. The chat moved up, so I got to find where it went. Oh, here we go. I keep praying for my mom to help her favorite grandson find a job and get his life together at age 34. I feel she has abandoned him. I was not close to her in life, but she adored him.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to go back to something we talked about a little while ago. The love, the adoration, the wanting to help will continue on. This is not that she's not helping him. So I want to say that I don't feel that at all. What I'm feeling from your mom is that she is still continuing to help him. He also has his own soul plan, and he has free will. So he could be making some choices from decisions that aren't the signs that she's sending him, but she's definitely still very much in love with him and adoring him and wanting to help him on his journey. So know that, I want to say this to everyone, know your prayers are always being heard, because very often when we pray, we feel like it just gets sent into the universe. It's a blank. It doesn't land. That's not true. It is landing. The other thing that I just heard your mom say is she's also wanting him to hold out for a great opportunity. So sometimes we start to look for a job, whatever it is, a new house, these things in life, before the right situation or location has become available. And that's what I really feel with him. So trust that if nothing else, you are being heard and she is still working to help him along with his angels and life guides. None of us are living this life alone. I know that in our human form, we feel so alone at times in it. You are not, no matter who you are. You have a team that has been chosen to be with you through this lifetime in spirit. And as your loved ones transition, they join the team too. So know that you have a lot to look forward to. He's going to get a job too. It doesn't feel that far away. I think he's going to get an offer within the next couple months. So
great. Well, we had lots of questions in the chat that we weren't able to get to. So if you had a question in the chat that we didn't address today, go ahead and submit that through the Google form, and we will add that to our list of questions. But thank you so much for all your participation. Great questions today.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to put in the link, the discount code for the Spirit Guides course, and the link to send in your questions so that we can answer them next week. We look forward to seeing you then. We're going to see if we can get this turned off.
We're going to try.
You know, yeah. All right. Have a great day.
Are you going to do it or am I going to do it?
I think I'm going to hand this over to you. Have a great day.